All right, here we go. So lie down on your backs. Feet hip distance apart. Knees together. Hands on your belly. Pull your shoulder blades underneath you just a little bit to get a little bit more opening in the collarbones. And breathe. And see if you can observe the breath without changing it. Always tricky to do. And as you inhale, again, see if you can find that tug at the top of your thighs, at that crease where your thighs meet your trunk of your body. Just a little tug. And then as you inhale, start to slow it down. So start controlling the breath a little bit. Making the inhales just a hair longer than the exhales. And then from here, take your arms out in a T. So arms are straight out from your sides, palms face up, shoulders underneath you again. And then like breathe into your belly. And as you inhale, almost try to breathe through your arms, like you're breathing into the middle back and out the arms to the sides. And then exhale and let it go. Inhaling into the belly, middle of the body, into the wings, into the arms. And letting it go. See if the arms can inspire you to have a more expansive breath. And you take the arms down to the sides, knees pointing straight up, feet sit-bone distance apart, toes pointing directly away from your head. And then the supported cat-cow, so exhaling, rolling your lower back into the floor. And then inhaling, lifting your lower back off of the floor. And then breathing into that wings, into the wings of the body, if you will. And then exhaling and round. At your own pace. Today, practice a more expansive inhale out to the sides. Able to linger any step of the way in terms of the physical movement. And as you start to get into this, notice the neck and how it gently rocks with the movement. Inhaling, it lengthens. Exhaling, Neck shortens and curls in its natural curve. One more breaths here. As you inhale, come into neutral. And then we're going to do the side-to-side pelvic rock. So as you inhale, reach your right sit bone toward your right heel. The left hip bone will come up towards your left side of your rib cage. And then exhale, come to neutral. Another side, inhale, reaching your left sit bone towards your left heel. Right hip bone comes up. And exhaling and coming into neutral. Keep going. Again, able to linger, asymmetrical creatures. And as you inhale, really try to, again, expand into that side body, so that the wings of the body. And you're welcome to stay here, or if you'd like to move a little deeper, you can straighten a leg on your next inhale and reach not only to your sit bone, but all the way through the leg to the heel. And exhale and come into neutral. And then as you inhale, you can reach your other leg out. Inhaling, reaching from your left sit bone all the way through the left thigh, left calf, left heel, coming back into neutral. Knees can be bent or legs can be straight. The legs straight, you feel a little bit more in the hip flexors. One more breath. And release on your next exhale. Relax the legs, relax the hips, let it all go. Relax and feel. From here, bend your right knee. Place your right foot on the floor. Moving into the back body a little bit more. So inhale, pushing your right foot down, lifting your right rib cage up. And release. And keep moving with the breath. Inhaling, lifting up against gravity. And releasing on the exhale. Keep reaching to your left heel throughout the entire movement. So don't let the left leg go. It's your anchor. And really feel how the back body supports you in this movement. It's not only the leg, but also the muscles in the back side of the body supporting you. And then if you'd like to, you can take your hands behind your head. And as you inhale, take your right elbow down towards your right heel, left elbow slides up where your head was, and exhale, come back to center. Again, we want to linger any step of the way. Couple more breaths. And then coming back into neutral, take the arms down, straighten your right leg, bend your left knee, and other side. Inhaling, pushing your left foot down, lifting your left rib cage off the floor. Right leg is straight and strong, reaching to the right heel. And then when you're ready to it, you can interlace your hands behind your head and reaching your left elbow down towards your left heel, right elbow slides up where your head was, then coming back to center. Stopping anywhere along the way to explore. Couple more breaths here. And on your next exhale, release the arms, release the leg, and relax and feel. And then from here, keep your toes straight up. Bend your right knee, point your right toes on your right foot. Touch the inside of your left ankle with your right big toe. It's like tree, but it's going to be a little variation today. So as you inhale, take your right toe, run it up the inside of your left thigh with your right knee straight up towards the sky. Once you hit the top of your movement, turn your right knee out to the side, to the right, and then trace the inside of your left thigh all the way down with the big toe. And then start again, right knee straight up, slide the right toe slides up the inside of the left leg, right knee turns out, and then you slide it back down. So on the inhale, coming up, On the exhale, turning out and going in. Inhaling up. And exhaling down. Try to keep that right hip down as opposed to letting it cinch up towards your right earlobe. If you need to take a break, take a break. Really exploring the inside right. Again, we want to linger any point along the way in the journey. And then from here, on your last time down, take a break, relax the legs. Notice that there's a difference between the right and left. And we're going to go in the other direction. So toes straight up, point the right foot, the toes on the right foot. Turn your right knee out to the side, right big toe to the inside of your left ankle. And as you inhale, take the toes up, right knee pointing out to the side. And then from here, as you exhale, take the right knee up and then slide the leg down. So you're going in the opposite direction in terms of the circle in the hip. So inhaling, right knee out to the right. Exhale, circle it up, and take it down. Inhaling, knee out to the side. Exhaling, knee up. Start the journey down. Taking a break anywhere along the way. Couple more breaths. And then relax and feel. Give the right hip a break. Notice the difference between the right and the left. You might even notice a difference in terms of the ease of breathing on the right side versus the left. So as you release the abs and the hip, it just makes it easier to take a breath on the right side. Another side, toes straight up. Point the toes on the left foot. From here, take the toes, touch the inside of your right ankle with the left big toe, and then inhale, slide the toes up. Exhale, knee out to the side, and take the toe down. Notice if there's a difference on this side versus the other side. Very common. Inhaling, knee up all the way to the top. Exhale, knee goes out to the side and toe goes off. Take a break anytime you need to. And linger anywhere you want to. Couple more breaths. At the end of your next exhalation, relax and feel. The other way around, toes up. Point the toes on the left foot. Turn the left knee out to the left. Touch the inside of your right ankle with the big toe on the left foot, and then inhale, slide up. Exhale, knee rounds up towards the top, kneecap pointing towards the ceiling, and then exhale, reaching down. Keeping the left hip down as much as possible. I know it's hard, especially when you're taking the foot up. Do the best you can. One more breaths. And release. Relax the legs, relax and feel. We're going to go a little bit more into the lower back now. Bend your knees one at a time. Place your right shin on top of your left thigh. And then from here, arms out to the side into T. Here you can point the palms down for stability. Pull your shoulder blades underneath you. And then take a deep breath in into the wings. Exhale, knees to the right. And then inhale, knees up. And exhale, knees to the right. When coming up, focus on the back, left side of the pelvis, originate from there. And then you can get your neck in on it. So as you exhale, knees to the right, turn your head to the left. More breaths. On your next inhale, knees come up. And then from here, you're gonna cat-cow right into this. So make sure your left foot is maybe cinched up a little bit closer to your left sit bone, but your lower back is off of the floor. So it's not smashed into the floor because your foot is too close. If the foot's too close, then we'll round the lower back. So make sure you have a little bit of wiggle room in your lower back so that you can cat-cow here while you open up the right hip. So exhale, round your lower back. Hips will come up a little bit. And then inhale, really try to reach into that right sit bone. And then exhale, really curl the lower back into the floor. And then inhale, again, reaching into that right sit bone. You can even start to turn the gas on a little bit in the right sit bone. So as you inhale and reach to your right sit bone, you can come onto your left tippy toes to take the left thigh closer to the body, which turns up the juice on the right hip. And then exhale and go in the other direction. So this pose is called Suchirandrasana, a version of it. Eye of the needle pose. Typically, we reach the hands around the left thigh and pull the left thigh in. Today, we're doing a version that articulates the lower back. A teacher of mine that I studied with for a long time would say that hips govern the lower back. So once we make the connection between the hips and the back, and how crucial it is to keep the hips open and healthy, the lower back starts to love us just a little bit more. A couple more breaths here. And on your next exhale, release the legs. Relax and feel. Right side versus left side. And other side, bending the knees. Place your left shin on top of your right thigh. Arms out to the side in a T, palms down, stability. And exhale, take the knees over to the left. And then as you inhale, focus on the back right side of your pelvis to pull the legs up. Exhaling, going with gravity. Inhaling, pulling up against gravity. Lingering anywhere you want to along the way. And if you'd like to, you can turn your neck into the movement. So as the knees go to the left, turn your head to the right. Exhale, coming up. Inhale, coming up. Exhale. more breaths. On your next inhale, knees are up. And from here, take your arms down just a little bit. And then walk your right heel in or farther from your right sit bone so you can get that articulation in the lower back. So you can cat-cow here. You want to be able to have some dynamic range. If your heel is in too close and you can't arch your lower back, then you're in too close. So from here, start with the exhale, round the lower back. And then as you inhale, reach, lower back lifts up and you reach to your left sit bone. And again, if you want to add a little bit more spiciness to the left hip, you can lift your right heel up as you inhale and exhale. Keep your right heel down, pull the lower back into the floor. And again, inhaling, reach to the left sit bone, lift your right heel up maybe, and exhale, moving out of it. Again, noticing the neck coming along for the ride. And on your next inhale, come into neutral, release the left shin, straighten the legs, relax and feel. Okay, back by popular demand, we'll work into our thighs. So grab a strap, where you got handy. Could be a strap, could be a belt, could be a rope, whatever you got. You're gonna turn on your side, and then you can have your hand, your arm underneath your head, or your head propped up, depending on your neck. I find it more comfortable to have the neck neutral. And then from here, the knees are bent, and you're gonna lasso the top of the right foot with the strap. And then you're gonna point your, I'm on my right side, so my left knee is pointing away from my head. And then from here, the tendency is to hit the thigh forward. So the creases of the hips, the hip flexors tend to wanna fly away from you towards away from the front of your body. So it's like reaching forward. So bend, I'm bending my left knee and then stick your left sit bone behind you so that the left crease in the hips reaches with it. And then point the knee away from your head. So it's like you originate the opening from the hip flexor as opposed to the knee. So first thing that goes back is the hip flexor creases of the hips, then the belly of the thigh, then the knee goes back. Kick your foot into the strap, and then if you'd like to, you can take the left knee back a little bit further, maybe a couple of inches, and breathe. The whole time, your left sit bone is trying to reach behind you as opposed to thrusting your tailbone forward. So there's a softness in the front of the left thigh as much as possible. And then release, and take your knees, pile them on top of each other and rest. And then we're gonna keep going on this movement, but we might do some progression. So from here, start again, have your strap. From here, you're gonna stick your left sit bone behind you. It's like you're sticking your butt out a little bit, creases reaching back. Then slowly start to point your left knee away from your head. Kick your foot into the strap. And then if you can, straighten the right leg. You can have the right foot in front of you, and it helps to flex the right foot so it's your kickstand. Keeping everything the same, keeping your left thigh moving back, left crease of your hip reaching back. Then you take your left knee behind you. Keep your foot into the strap so the thigh is active. Very active stretch. Keep breathing. Notice if you're holding the breath to hold the pose. And release. Take the knees in and relax. Okay, last progression. Thigh opening. So from here, straighten your right leg, flex your right foot, stick your sit bones back. Left sit bone reaches back, left thigh then reaches back, then left knee. Kick your foot into the strap. You might take your left foot behind you. And then if you want to play with it, you can kind of roll onto your back. It's kind of like we did at the beginning of class. And your left foot touches the ground. You're on your left tippy toes. And then from here, your tailbone moves in, your abs are toned, and you're lifting into kind of a half back bend. It's like a half bridge. And your left shoulder will come back. And you can even turn your head and face your eyes straight up towards the ceiling. Half bridge. But you're pushing into the floor with the base of your left big toe. And then from here, relax. Come onto your back. Straighten the legs. Relax and feel. Okay, other side. So you can just roll over to your other side if you'd like. Knees are bent. Lasso the top of the right foot with the strap. Head in neutral, or if you'd like to prop your head up, you can do that. Whatever's most comfortable for you. Stick your sit bones out behind you. Keep your right thigh, crease of your right thigh reaching back as you take your right thigh back and point your right kneecap away from your head. Originating the movement at the hip, not the knee. Then keep your foot into the strap, and then if it feels okay, you can take your right knee behind you. But always trying to keep your right sit bone pointing back. So you can feel that pulse, like there's the initial movement of the knee back, which pops the right hip forward. Slack off a little bit, get your right hip moving back again, and then you can move into the movement a little deeper. So when I want to open up my thigh more, I'll actually originate at the hip, which means I'll back off on the right knee, pull the right kneecap forward a little bit, sneak my right hip back first, and then my knee will go farther behind me. I find it to be a lot more comfortable on my hip flexors when I do it that way. And it's basically a deeper back bend. Breathe. And then from here, pile the knees on top of each other, take a break. It's very common in back bends to get a little tense when we start moving, especially when the thigh goes back farther. They are stimulating postures. They are postures that raise your energy. And that can be a little bit unnerving in the beginning. Okay, next progression. So from here, take your right knee up, right sit bone back behind you, start to straighten the right knee, and then straighten your left leg. Left toes are flexed towards your face, left ankle is flexed. And the foot can be a little bit in front of you, so you have a little bit more of a kickstand. Sit bones point back first, thigh, then right knee, kick your foot into the strap, and breathe. And again, you can play with that pulsation. So maybe the knee goes back and then you feel the right hip tense up a little bit, back off a little bit, stick your right sit bone back more, and then reach back more with your right knee. It's like a little bit of a seesaw. As the knee goes back, the hip goes forward. Back off on the knee a little bit, get your right hip back more. And then you go back to the right knee. A little inchworm action in the body. And release. Bend the knees, pile them on top of each other. And last progression. So from here, bend the knees, lift your right knee up. Your right knee back. Right sit bone back first, right thigh, then right knee. Keep kicking into the strap. Try that pulsation again. Right sit bone goes back, then right thigh, then right knee. And then if you'd like to, you can stay here, or you can take your right toes down onto the floor behind you. So now you have something to push against, so that right leg becomes very active, right? Arms can come out to the sides. Keep your right crease reaching down and see if you can reach more into the belly of your quad, the front of your quad. Reach from there, as opposed to your lower back. Breathe. Your head can be facing straight up towards the ceiling if that feels okay. And release. Lying down on your back. Relax the legs, relax and feel. Okay, so flip onto your other side. Make sure your strap is nearby. We're going to be on our sides again. And this time, you can have your right foot slightly in front of your right leg is straight. It's your kickstand. And then you can lasso the bottom of your right foot with the strap. Have the knee bent. And my left knee is over my right hip. So you're to the side. And then from here, slowly start to push your foot into the strap. So it's an active stretch as you straighten the left leg. Now you might notice that your left sit bone is pushing out behind you. Try to scoop your left sit bone in more to the midline of the body. Engage your quads, engage your kneecap, but don't hyperextend the leg. And breathe. You can stay here, or if you'd like to have a little bit more intensity, you can take the leg closer to your body. So this is like a reclined triangle pose for those of you who've taken yoga classes. Anytime you straighten the legs, we have to be super careful to not hyperextend the knees. So no locking the knees are soft. And breathe. And release. Other side. Just rolling over on your backs. And go to the other side. Again, left foot in front of you just a little bit. So it's not along the midline of the body. It's a little bit in front of you for stability. And then start with your right leg bent. Right knee over your right hip. And then from here, start to push into the strap to straighten the right leg. Notice if your right hip starts to tuck out from behind you, like it reaches back behind you, and pull your right sit bone in to the midline of the body. So the outside of your right buttock pulls down and in. It'll rotate the kneecap slightly to the right. Watch out for locking the knees. Keep reaching. Again, if you want a little more intensity, you can take the foot closer to your face, but only as long as you keep the legs super engaged. Knee is soft. And release. Okay. All right, so we're gonna do one restorative posture. Good brook posture. So this one we've done before. So you're gonna pile the pillows at the bottom for your knees. You're gonna create padding for your lower back. So to support your lumbar. So you do the fan folds with your towels to the height that it would support your lower back. So not too high, but not too low. So you know your body's best. And then you lay that down the middle of your mat. So your hips will be between pillows and the towel. And then the last towel, you would roll up to support your neck. And then I always start with my knees on the pillows. And then I can adjust the lumbar easily as I lie down. And then the last thing to come in is the towel that supports the neck. And then you can adjust the roll to support your neck. And then arms go out to the sides. And always this posture is meant to make you feel supported. And you might notice that your lower back needs different support as your body starts to roll to the towels. So feel free to pop out and to adjust as needed. Or you might find that the roll underneath your neck is too high, and you might have to back down on that. But always with the props, the body takes the lead. And then take a deeper breath in, always starting with the breath. And you can wiggle fingers and toes, ankles, roll your feet around the ankles, one direction and the other. Roll the hands around the wrists, one direction and the other. Take your feet on top of the pillows, whatever you got, one at a time. Roll over to the side that's most comfortable for you. Then stay here for a moment. And then push your top hand down to push yourself up to have a seat. Always the tricky seated posture on the floor. So to sit on the floor comfortably, first things first, you have to have something that's high enough for your hips. So if you're crossing your legs and your knees are above the crests of your hips, then you need to have a higher platform to sit on. You don't want to have it too high where your knees are dropping down, but you want to have a little bit of lift. Or you may need a lot of lift. It really just depends on your hips. And then when you take your feet in, you kind of want to pull your thighs out from underneath you and behind you. So there's a little bit of internal rotation of the hip as you pull the leg in. And then the same thing on the other leg. There's a little bit of internal rotation on the hip, and then you take the leg in. You can sit cross-legged pose where the shins are cross-legged. That one's good. It's easier on the hips. It can be a little bit hard on the ankles because they're pushing up against each other. There's another posture, so that's called Sukhasana, so it's a sweep pose. And then there's Siddhasana, which is a little bit different, where you're actually rotating the top of the shin down. So the shins face the floor, but the ankles aren't crossing over each other, but it's a little harder on the hips. But up to you, where your body needs to be, honor that. And then from here, always pull your shoulder blades in together and down the back side of the body. You don't want the hands so far forward that your elbows are pulled and your shoulders are jutting forward. You want to have your shoulders lead the way. So shoulders are back, elbows come back so that they're dangling beneath the shoulders. And wherever the hands lay, the hands lay. So the hands are in essence supporting the arms, wherever they need to be in space. And then take your head up over your spine. Spine over, lines up, starting from the tailbone all the way to the top of the head. Trying to reach straight up towards the sky. And again, try not to lean forward into the future or back into the past, but holding a steady line in the present. And then if you're comfortable with it, you can take your hands together in front of your heart. And then you can bow your head to yourself. And then take your hands down on your thighs, lift your head, open your eyes, and you are free for the rest of your Sunday. Thank you for coming, you guys. It was good to see you.
You have time for a question?
Oh, absolutely.
So I think a couple of times ago we were talking about the importance of engaging your muscles to protect your ligaments.
Yeah, joints. Yep.
Joints, yes. What to do when you feel like your muscles are cramping?
Oh, yeah. And when does it happen? Is it in the foot or is it like in a big muscle group?
It's in my back. It's like some of those turns sometimes, well, maybe my erector muscle?
Yeah, the erector on the side of the spine.
Yeah.
Right, the spine. And then, so sometimes it depends on what the movement is. Sometimes when we lean back, so if you're rounding like this, as opposed to pulling it in, right? It can cramp this way or it can cramp when you're engaging. Do you know the difference when it's cramping? Is it cramping when you're letting go? Or is it cramping when you're engaging and pushing forward? Do you know?
I think when I'm letting go.
Yeah, so that's
so keep it active, right? And
Okay.
so the tendency, so the tendency, especially in twists, this happens a lot in twists, right? So the tendency is we'll be in a deep twist. We'll be into it, right? We're like, yeah, my lower back's in. I'm going into the twist. I'm feeling good. And then we do this big, like, can you imagine, like, it's like a coil, and you've coiled it up, and then all of a sudden you go wang, and you let it go, and your back goes, what? What did you just do? We were deep into this. You didn't give it warning, right? So for me, it's like always better for me if I'm in this deep back bend that's active, right? 'Cause you're in an active back bend, to inhale to come out of it. So there's an inhale out of it to lifting and pulling forward, as opposed to exhaling and letting go. You see what I'm saying?
What, because now that you've mentioned it, I think it also happens when I'm engaging. I'm still working on my back. So when I'm engaging, I mean, do I just kind of like keep on keeping the engagement and kind of like move through it a little bit more? Like it's just kind of needs to release?
Well, it depends on if it's cramping while you're in it, then you want to actually inhale, keep it engaged, and gently move out of it. You know what I mean? So you're not trying to just release it where it is because it's unhappy where it is, right? So you want to come into neutral in a very calm and contained way. And then it depends. Is it still cramp when you come out of when you go into neutral, or you're okay when you're in neutral?
Yeah, it's more like I get into the move, I start to feel the cramp, and then my tendency is to kind of pull away from it.
Yeah.
Where I've heard other advice, depending on completely different kinds of moves and like mobility sessions, where you're supposed to like push through it.
I know. And some people really like it when you like hold on to that cramp and you go for it. I find I can't hold the integrity of the posture when I'm in the middle of a cramp. And so for me, I'd rather, and I can't tell the difference between a bad cramp, like a Charlie horse cramp, and a good cramp, right? So for me, like the way I keep in my body is like I will come into neutral to make sure we're okay. And then gently release, right? So I'll come out of it. But I know like people love it, like when they do the 90-90 and you're like cramping in your hip and they're like, hold. And I'm like, but it's gonna pop off, I'm pretty sure. But like when it comes, and I'm okay with my hip cramping, I'm just not okay with my back cramping. You know what I mean? Like I draw a line at my back because I have back problems too, right? And so I would much rather, for me, it depends if you can tell the difference between a good one and a bad one. I can't.
With my back, it always feels like I'm really not sure what's going on, and that like if I'm not careful, I'm going to be curled into the fetus position for like the next few hours. So like I don't know. My back, but with my hips, like the 99